Welcome back, everyone. We have a shocking story out of Mesquite, Texas. This after a substitute teacher was just caught on tape encouraging middle school students to fight in class. In the video that was secretly recorded by one of the students, you can hear the teacher outlining rules for the kids to follow and telling another student to monitor the door. We have the footage of it, but I must warn you, it's difficult to watch.
This video is hard to watch and hard to believe. The young boys and young girls you see hit each other hard are only in middle school. The person instructing them to fight, that is their substitute teacher. The teacher is Natalie Garcia, confirms she not only encouraged her students to fight, but also outlined rules for them to follow, even made a student guard the door.
Stand by that door and hold it in case somebody comes in.
In the video, you see Martinez's daughter fidget nervously as she records, as Garcia tells her students to put their phones away.
I'm not joking. I'll take your phone to the office.
To make matters even worse, Martinez says her daughter is now receiving death threats for reporting the incident. Mesquite police has not charged Garcia with a crime, but confirms it is investigating the incident.
According to reports, the students fighting in that video are as young as 12 and 13 years old. The teacher responsible is 24-year-old Natalie Esperanza Garcia. According to reports, she had only been working with the Mesquite Independent School District for 1 month. The Mesquite Police Department arrested Garcia on Monday and charged her with 4 counts of endangering a child, which in Texas is considered state jail felony. We now go to criminal defense attorney Bob Bianchi with more on this story. Bob, thanks so much for being back with us today. It's great to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you.
Of course. So I want to know, Bob, what's really going on here? A substitute teacher encouraging kids to fight in the classroom? How do you expect this trial to go?
Badly for the teacher. I mean, I'm putting myself in the position of when I ran the prosecutor's office and something like this would come across my way. I mean, this is a vulnerable population. Parents give their children, by state law, the teachers are acting what they call locus parentis. They stand in the placement of the parents for the care, custody, health, safety, and welfare of these children. To do something of this magnitude is not only extraordinary in my mind, and as a prosecutor, I would be filing all the charges I possibly could here, if for no other reason to vindicate the rights of these children who are victims, but to send a very strong and clear message that if this conduct occurs, you're not going to get a slap on the wrist, may I add. I wouldn't just be filing these charges. I would clearly be telling the defense lawyers, tell your client to pony up and get ready to be doing a state prison sentence for this. This isn't going to be a slap on the wrist. This reminds me of a case a couple of years ago, you may remember, where there were 2 or 3 daycare workers or teachers with young toddlers that they were having fights with. I mean, this is like something that you would never expect. The only thing that I would want to be doing in my investigation from this point forward, in addition to charging and seeking a maximum sentence on this teacher, is ask myself, how was this that this could occur in this school and nobody knew like this was going on? This is a violent encounter that's going on. And clearly the teacher shows what we call consciousness of guilt of its wrongness by the fact that she's telling the students not to record it and to make sure that the door is closed and nobody gets in. This is about as bad as it gets. This is the kind of case prosecutors love and dream about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty sickening to watch, and to know that the school hired this woman without doing a more thorough background check. I mean, can they be held accountable for letting her in?
Well, I don't know what the background is. I don't know how they hired her, how they vetted her. I don't really perceive, unless they knew this was going on, that there would be any criminal responsibility, because the standard there is much higher in terms of the mental state in order to be charged with a crime. But if you're asking me, is this a good civil suit? You bet. I mean, because the bottom line is these teachers are responsible, the administrators, for the appropriate hiring of temperamentally fit individuals, and that they have monitoring mechanisms in place to ensure conduct like this does not occur. So this would be an excellent civil suit against the administrators for negligence and recklessness, even though they may not have known that she was participating in this conduct.
Absolutely. It'll sure be interesting to see how that one plays out. Now, in other lawsuits, Shaquille O'Neal has been served in the FTX lawsuit. And FTX hasn't really been in the headlines lately, but I want to know, are there other celebrities associated with FTX, and will any of them be held accountable for pushing this?
Yeah, I've been kind of back and forth with this a little bit in my mind legally as I try to work this out, because what I try to do when I look at these cases is say, all right, well, what is the general implication of this, and how have we typically handled these things precedentially in other ways? So, if you take the politics out, if you draw the celebrity out of it, and what does the law say? I go on both sides of this. Number one, these are celebrity spokespeople. Celebrity spokespeople we would hope would be honorable and honest and know the product and think that they're endorsing it because it's the greatest thing in the world. But I think it's common sense to realize that many of these people are doing this for a financial reason. Now, as far as a lawsuit against them, to me, what this guy did is something that nobody knew. It was very convoluted. It had many moving pieces. So these suits against these celebrities for endorsing a product, if they did not know that there was anything nefarious going on, they did not know that money was being taken, I kind of find that to be a hard suit to prevail upon. And I think we need to be careful that, sometimes we endorse people. Sometimes we vouch for people. Sometimes we write letters of recommendation for people. Think about the societal implications if we're to say that if it later turns out to be that this person was a bad person, not just in the area of TV advertising, but in so many other things, that you will then be responsible for the fraud or crime they committed. I think it's kind of a dangerous slope to me.
Yeah, definitely. I do find it interesting, though, that Shaq was allegedly evading police in this lawsuit. Do you think that will potentially have an effect on how this all works out for him?
No. Well, he was evading process, as I understand it, of a complaint that was filed against him. I've had people ask me this. I'll get into the specifics, but I've had professionals running out the back door to evade process. And we just tell them, accept the process. They're going to get you one way or the other. And by doing this, you're making it look like, one, that you're guilty, two, that you don't want to go along with the system. And it's just not a question of if with a guy like Shaq. I mean, come on, take a look at Shaq. It's not like he's like an unrecognizable human being. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when they're going to get you. So take the suit and let this play out in court.
Definitely. Yeah, it'd be pretty hard to avoid. Now, while we're on the subject of FTX, I want to know what happened to Sam Bankman-Fried. Do you have any updates on his house arrest?
No, I don't. I mean, right now it's very quiet because what's happening is, I think, a rather extensive investigation. And as we know from many of the investigations, and I used to laugh about this when I was a prosecutor. I mean, we get a call, there was a homicide case, and I would get the call, and literally 5 minutes later, I'd have a reporter call me saying, what happened in the case? Who murdered the person? So a lot of times the media wants information, understandably, and that's way ahead of the very slow and methodical process that investigators and prosecutors have to go through, because at the end of the day, if there's a news article that's not good, you throw it in the garbage can. But when you're talking about a criminal prosecution where you have to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt to 12 jurors, right now they're investigating all sorts of individuals, and they're trying to probably, in my mind, move up a chain of command, if you will, get people to cooperate, maybe offer people plea offers or immunity so that they can move up to the higher echelons of this fraud, so that they have a rock solid case when they go in there. So right now you have a very slow court process that's going to take place, but you can be assured that prosecutors and agents are thoroughly investigating the ins and outs of, by the way, financial transactions. These are very, very difficult crimes to investigate. They're very paper heavy, paper intensive. So you got to dot I's and cross T's. So I think we need to just slow up a little bit while they do the job that they need to do in order to secure. Look, last thing you want. You don't want to charge somebody and then have a huge trial and a huge spectacle and the person's found not guilty, unless, of course, they aren't guilty.
That's right. Well, we will certainly stay tuned to see what happens next, and we hope to catch up with you soon, Bob. Tell people where they can find you and follow your work for more.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter at rbianchi, Bianchiesq. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Take care.